This is Karen with newclevelandradio.net, and it's time for What in the World with Paul Seaburn. And we are recording and streaming live today, and we tried to let everybody know that ahead of time. And hopefully, you clicked on the link and you are seeing us absolutely live. Today, I'm dedicating our show to my husband, Richard Hale, who has been on this podcast in the past. But he has joined those that have left this earth before him. So he is up there singing with the angels. And if you hear somebody that's, really off key, that's Rich. So you'll know who it is. I know he'll be listening. He has a dry sense of humor, and that humor is reflected on this show. My laugh will be an extension of his today. Thank you for supporting Paul Seaburn and his podcast, now in its 9th year. Please remember, we bring you real news. Sometimes weird, but always funny. At least we think so. This show is sponsored by What Would You Say to a Naked Alien? That's Paul Seaburn's book. The music of Cassandra Kabinski, and we have a link for that in the show notes. And Yes, I Can, Coaching with Karen, life coaching at its best. But in the meantime, what are we going to talk about today, Paul?
Wow, Karen, what a week. I can still remember Rich sticking his head into our podcast every once in a while.
Yep.
He played a part in our earlier podcast. He really did. He Before we had John as our co-host, Rich was kind of an uncredited co-host.
Yes. Thank God we didn't give him credit.
There you go. That's right. And he made his contributions, and it was always fun to see him. So, it's a sad and yet, it is what it is. I agree with you. He did have an odd sense of humor, but he got our show. So whatever that means, I'm not sure. But yeah, if he is tuning in, Rich, if you're able to stick your head in, that'll freak everybody out. So yeah, what are we going to talk about today, Karen? So let's see. We've got I lost my place already. I can't believe
my
it.
gosh.
Yeah. Oh, we're uh oh, I'm on the wrong page. There we go.
See, we didn't
Okay,
have a
I'm gonna
rehearsal.
wing it. I'm gonna wing it. See, I'm the one. I'm gonna wing it. We're going to talk about some strange donuts from New York. We're going to talk about everybody's favorite show or everybody's favorite store from Cleveland. You'll know what it is when I mention it, and what they're selling now. We're going to talk about a great cow story, a smart cow from Austria. Let's see, we've got some world records. We've got some things that you shouldn't do, kids listening at home. I'm going to talk about some world records. Don't try these at home. But they're fun to talk about. The a world record from England in a very strange vehicle. I really like this one. So let's just get right to it here. I stapled. Oh, okay. Now I see where I'm at. Now I see where I'm at in the script. Boy, it's a good thing I don't have it flashing over here on because I'd be completely lost. Let's do our share here and get our logo up here. There we go. Oh, by the way, I always introduce Karen and our other co-host John Dinello. John is on assignment, which means he's on vacation. But I'm sure he's listening. He'll be back next week, and he'll be ready with some Bigfoot stories. I sent him some cool Bigfoot photographs, so we'll talk about those next week as well. So I don't know where everybody is at this week. We're in Cleveland, Ohio. We're in Northeast Ohio, and it is freezing cold. There's a foot of snow. I know Karen is not far from me, so she has a foot of snow as well.
Yep.
I hope it's a little warmer where you're at. To give you some idea, here's a picture of my book. What would you say to a naked space alien? Aliens are cold today. Those poor aliens, they come here, they have no clothes on. Um, they're freezing. They're freezing. If you see an alien walking down the street and they're naked, throw them a coat or something.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's what my neighbor did. Here's a picture of my neighbor trying to deal with the cold.
Oh, I love
He
it.
is
Yes.
gives you some idea for those of you who are watching us on YouTube. And I have always recommend that you do that because I have some photos that go along with the story. This is a picture of a guy in a we used to call them a ski jacket, those big puffy jackets. But this jacket could fit probably him and the rest of his basketball team.
Yes.
Underneath it. That's how cold it is in Cleveland. Um, he should, I worry about this guy, my neighbor, because if he ever falls down, he'll never be able to get back up again. The reason why I know that is because I'm a big fan of the Christmas Story, and there's a picture of Randy, little brother Randy, from the show at the very famous scene in that movie where Randy is all bundled up and he falls over and he can't get up, and his buddies all have to come and lift him
Yep.
up. I think I mentioned this before. Ian Petrella played Randy, and I met Ian and actually did some work with him when I moved back to Cleveland back around 2011. What a really nice guy, very, very talented. We were working on cartoons together. Very talented guy. He was in the sequel. He did some work at the Christmas Story house down there. So, anyways, if you think that's cold, here's a scene from Amish country. This is an Amish
Oh,
buggy.
hi.
Yeah, this is
Oh,
an Amish buggy doing wheelies in a parking lot and doing wheelies better than the pickup truck that's in the parking lot with it. So
absolutely. Wow.
I have a feeling this is artificial intelligence, but my cousin sent me a video and I couldn't tell if it was fake or not of a Amish buggy doing wheelies in a parking lot. So, they can have fun just like we can too. So
Absolutely.
I'm sure that's what they're doing.
But
Um,
the poor horse has to be cold.
no kidding, Karen. I don't understand that. They're horses somehow stay warm. Although like deer, we have deer all over the place here. I go out for my walk in the morning. I can barely stay out for 20 to 30 minutes. And I see deer walking around. They're happy-go-lucky. They don't care. Their ears aren't cold. Their feet aren't cold. They're certainly whatever it is underneath their tail isn't cold either. So I'm just, I'm amazed. So it's obviously like that horse is probably warmer than the guy
Yep.
with beard in the buggy. It's January, the end of January, but it's already in Cleveland Punchki season. Because Ash Wednesday is coming up in a couple of weeks, and we know it's Punchki season because the king of the Punchkis has packed up in Florida and is on his way to Cleveland right now. That's a picture of the giant Punchki that
Oh my goodness.
isn't it does
Wow.
that looks real too, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah.
Almost looks delicious. For those of you who are not from Northeast Ohio, a punchki is a giant jelly donut that is traditionally eaten on the day before Ash Wednesday when you pig out before you fast for 40 days. Such a Christian practice it is, pig out before you fast, but that's what we do. To the point where many bakeries in Cleveland said, hey, we sell so many punchkis on Fat Tuesday. Maybe we should sell some on Fat Monday and Fat Sunday and Fat Saturday. And
Yeah.
before you know it, it's a month before Ash Wednesday and they're selling punchki.
Yeah. Isn't this year really unusual? Because I saw them at Christmas time.
Well, Karen, right down the street from where you live is a bakery, Northfield Bakery. I'll give them a plug because I go there.
Okay.
They really treat us well. They have punchkis all year long.
Oh,
The owner is Polish and she does a super job. The entire staff does. So you can get jelly punchkis, chocolate, lemon, custard.
wow.
Yeah, obviously I eat a lot of them. I know all the flavors. But so and it's spreading to other states. So you may be seeing punchkis near you. We'll
Okay.
see. let us know. It's a sure sign of spring in Cleveland when the punchkis arrive. Although, as Karen pointed out, there's punchkis here already, and we're still freezing our butts off.
Yeah, we are. Yep.
But the punchkis are a good lead into our first story, and it's about food. It's one of our favorite subjects on What in the World is strange food from around the world. And I was thinking about this. Why did that happen? Why have we evolved into talking about strange foods from around the world? And Karen, I blame it on the early days of our show when we were doing it from Panera Bread. You remember that?
I do remember those days.
Yeah,
Yes.
you go to Panera Bread with your remote, your little board and your computer and a Wi-Fi connection, and we could do our podcast from anywhere. You remember their motto, the Panera Bread motto?
No.
Oh, it's "You pick two."
Oh.
You pick two. That's their motto or their slogan. I don't know, whatever they call it. Which to me, I think that's why we got thrown out of Panera Bread, because I don't know if you remember this, but one of my fraternity brothers came to sit in on the show. Not John, of course, and he saw the sign that said "You pick two." So he picked his nose, which they they didn't that didn't bother them as much. But then he went to look for his second nose to pick, and that's what he said, "You people got to get out of here." So
yeah,
that was. So we went. Where did we go? We went to Joe Max.
Max.
The number one donut shop in Brecksville while they were open for their famous world famous blueberry donuts. So which brings us to our story today, which is about donuts. So
Okay.
we talked about punchkis, we talked about Joe Mac. Now we're going to talk about the strange donuts they're serving in New York City. I don't understand this. The name of the store is I'm Donut. Now I say that like it's a question because the name is I'm Donut with a question mark after it.
Okay.
But not just a question mark, but there's a space in between the T in donut and the question mark. I think I might have a picture of this store. No, I don't have a picture of the store, but I'll leave the donut up there. So it's like maybe they're signifying that there's a hole in the sign, just like there's a hole in the donut. So leave the jokes to us. I'm Donut. That's a poor joke if you're trying it.
Yeah.
The hot new item is this one right here on your screen if you're watching us on YouTube, a limited edition anchovy cheese donut.
It doesn't look like a donut though.
It looks disgusting to me.
Yeah, it does.
3 kinds of cheese and 1 anchovy draped across the top. So that's not icing, that's cheese, and it's kind of like maybe it's a pizza. They
looks like mold.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. I don't know if apparently they must like it. America runs on Dunkin', but this is going to give you the runs. That's what
okay.
So
Okay.
yeah, it would give me the runs, I'm sure. Eating cheese and anchovy. In Cleveland, where we're at, fish on a donut is what happens when you accidentally put your lunch in your tackle box. Which when you're on your way to go catch some sheephead in Lake Erie or some perch and walleye. Anchovies, cheese, and cake sounds like what you find in a bachelor's, a single guy's refrigerator on Monday
Exactly. Exactly.
There's nothing left from the weekend. Anchovies are salty. If you want salt on your donut, ask for some salt. You don't need to put a fish on it along with the cheese. Maybe if you're nice, they'll use that pink salt that they're selling out. Everybody's so all excited about. It'll look like sprinkles on your donut. And what would you dunk an anchovy donut in? Any ideas?
No.
No. Pizza sauce, I was thinking maybe might taste good, or salsa. But that's it. Certainly not coffee. Why ruin both the donut and your coffee by dunking an anchovy donut in?
A donut to me has to be sweet and savory, not salty and fishy.
No, that's exactly right. That's right. Yeah, this is the donut people should sue. Donuts should sue
Yeah.
for ruining their good reputation.
Absolutely.
So, you know, I tell you what, I agree with the question mark at the end of I'm a donut. I don't
Yep.
think it's a donut. So, and these definitely would not sell in Cleveland. There's no way Clevelanders would eat even an anchovy punchki. They wouldn't eat an anchovy punchki. But there's no bakery in Cleveland who would desecrate a punchki with a fish. Period. However, there's a new restaurant in Cleveland that has done something similar to steaks. This is a steakhouse, and I'm not going to mention the name, but for an additional charge, this steakhouse is offering to wrap your steak in an edible gold foil. Here's a picture of it. Picture of you can't even tell what kind of steak it is. It could be a fillet. It could be a Salisbury steak for all you know. Oh, you're just impressed that it's in gold foil. Big deal.
How much does that cost?
I don't. I forgot to look at the menu, Karen. I was so overwhelmed by the monstrosity of this absurdity. This is Cleveland. You know, that we don't need gold unless we accidentally swallow a tooth.
Right, right.
That's pretty much it. You know, if you're in Cleveland and you're eating something like this, you're probably on death row and this is your last meal because no one in Cleveland would eat this otherwise. Um, I can hear my father. I can hear my father if I came home from a date and I said, "Oh yeah, we went to this expensive, fancy place and I had steak wrapped in gold." The first thing he would do is drag me into the bathroom, and he'd say, "You get your money back right now."
Yep. Wow.
You know, the only gold that I can think that I eat golden delicious apples. I eat rolled gold pretzels, and I eat goldfish crackers. That's it. That's
Yeah, that's about it.
gold.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, what else? If anybody knows of anything else, send me a link. Send me what else you would eat besides gold wrapped steak. And while I'm mentioning that, I want to point out that I am on Facebook, as is Karen. So that's a good way to get in contact with us. If you see an interesting story, we're getting a lot of interesting stories from our followers. You can also go to newclevelandradio.net, which is our platform, Karen's website for all the great podcasts she does, along with a link for the Yes I Can coaching and a link for Cassandra Kubinski, our other sponsor, and the wonderful music that she puts together. So, or you can go to my website, paulseaburn.com, and there's a link there for New Cleveland Radio. There's also a link for my book. There we go. Right in the middle of our show, we do a big.
Very good.
How about that? So, I mean, what if Golden Corral took this literally and
Whoa.
started wrapping things in gold? There'd be a line out the door. Not only would there be a line out the door, there's already fights at Golden Corral when they run out of stuff. Can you imagine if they ran out of the gold wrap hamburgers or whatever they're wrapping the gold in? Oh, it would be brutal. It would be brutal.
It can't be good for your digestive system. I'm sorry.
That somebody, they paid off some doctor somewhere to they gave him a bunch of gold leaf and said, "Here, please approve it. Give it some tiny little bit of nutritional value so that we can sell it." And that's what they did. It's already caused a restaurant war in Cleveland. Because it's in a high activity restaurant area, and there's a Polish restaurant right down the street that is beating them to the punch. They're selling pierogies wrapped in more pierogies. Now that's a Cleveland meal right there.
Yep, it is.
That's Cleveland gold. That's what I call that. So, okay, it's a sure sign. Speaking of Cleveland, it's a sure sign somebody grew up in Cleveland. If you mention the Lawson store and they get all excited, they start talking about the chip dip. They start talking about the chip chop ham that they would buy for lunch. And some of them, of course, talk about having to go to Lawson's with a note from their parents so they could buy cigarettes and bring them. Yeah, I think I have a picture of a Lawson store right here. There's one. That's a Cleveland, an old Cleveland Lawson store. You can tell by the the rusted out cars in front. The
Looks like an old gremlin there.
so Lawson's is gone from the United States. The last one's closed a number of years ago, but it turns out that the chain has moved to Japan, and there's Lawson stores. It's the number one convenience store chain in Japan, and a friend of the show, Ron, down in Florida, went to Japan recently, and he vouched for that. He said he took pictures of it. He said he was all excited. I don't think he would have been excited if he found the product that we're about to talk about in his Lawson store. So the Lawson stores in Japan are now selling something called drinkable tofu, which is cold liquid tofu mixed with ground meat. Now,
I'm nauseous.
I can hear everybody listening going, ugh. If I was on vacation and I was visiting a Lawson store and I saw this on the shelf, there's a picture of it on the shelf. If I saw that on the shelf, I would say, Hodo, we're not in Lawson's anymore.
Yeah.
This is not Lawson's food. And drinkable tofu, that's an oxymoron. Tofu is solid. It's not liquid. There's no way to make tofu taste any better just by putting it in a blender. And then it's not even in a blender. Here's a picture of this stuff here. This is
oh my God.
There's a chunk of tofu and ground meat, looks like regular ground meat, and some brown liquid. Here's what it looks like in a glass. It looks like what the Cuyahoga River and Lake Erie used to look like before they cleaned up all the pollution. It's not appealing at all.
No.
And I want to point out that in the cooler, it's in the dairy cooler, I guess, and right next to it is a carton of strawberry milk. I think this is a marketing ploy, Karen. This is to subtly tell people that they ought to buy both of these because you're going to want something to wash your mouth out with after you eat this tofu, and strawberry milk would certainly taste better. Although, I don't know. I'm sure it would spoil the strawberry milk too. But it looks like beef soup with tofu and meat in it. That's kind of what it looks like. For those of you.
No, it looks like something else, and I won't say.
There you. What's even worse, Karen, is they recommend that you consume it cold. This is a cold.
Oh, that's even worse.
I know. And there's a message on the side that says that if you do want to heat it up, you can heat it up, but they tell you to put it in another carton because that carton that it comes in is not microwavable. So you could kill yourself just by microwaving this grotesque stuff in the Lawson store. One of the worst foods that I've seen. It reminds me. It looks like what would happen if you lost your kielbasa down this sewer.
Yes, exactly.
Which is from a song by the same name, for those of you who aren't familiar with the song, inspired by an old fan of the show who came to visit us at Joe Max, Tom, who lives down. I went to high school with Tom. He lives. In fact, I went to grade school with Tom as well. I've known him since second grade, and he lives nearby in Brooklyn Heights, I believe. I don't know. The only way I could see eating this is if I dipped my sardine donut in it.
Oh. Okay, move on.
And we have just created the world's worst combination right there. Yep. Okay. All right, Karen, I'm going to give you a break. We'll get away from food for a while here, at least this gross kind of food. So, love invention. We love inventions on this show. So there's an inventor. His name is John Zhu. He graduated from MIT, so he must be smart. He created an autonomous drone. Autonomous means that he doesn't have to, once he starts it up, it has a brain of its own. So it goes on its own. But this autonomous drone is a drone-powered flying umbrella. Here's a picture of him with this flying umbrella hovering over him in the rain, keeping him dry. Very clever idea, I think. But it was so depressing testing it, because he had to keep going out in the rain and going out in the rain. He gave it a silver lining to cheer him up. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But if I was thinking, and I'm always thinking about new ways to use these products. If you could get one of those, like a Roomba, one of the robots that goes on the ground. If you could get an autonomous robot with a scooper, to pick up a pooper scooper, you could have a combination of them walk your dog when it's raining outside. So you got an umbrella over the dog. You got something to pick up the scooper. You could hook your the dog's leash to it. You don't have to go outside. Dog gets its exercise. I think there's an invention there. I'm going to have to see if I can pet, or at least talk to this guy and see if he wants to work with me on it.
But if the Roomba is anything like my Roomba, it'll get lost. So not a great idea.
The lovely Donna and I were talking about Roombas just this past weekend. And I know you're probably one of the few people we know who also has a Roomba. And we haven't used ours for a number of years. But she said that she thought that the Roomba company went out of business or got acquired by somebody else. They filed for bankruptcy. So, you probably can't even take it back and get it refurbed or get a new battery or.
No, and the thing, he works and works, and then all of a sudden it decides to hide. And
yeah,
I go searching.
Like it had a mind of its own.
It absolutely does.
We had that problem too. They got smarter. It used to be, I'll deviate for a second here. For those of you who've never seen one of these, if you wonder how they stayed in one room, you just wanted them to clean the living room, for example. The old ones, you had to set up these like little battery operated flashlights that shot these little beams. And when the Roomba hit the beam, it would stop and turn around and go away. Eventually, they came up with a way to program the size of the room in there, I guess, so that it knew what the dimensions of the room were. But Karen, the biggest problem that I heard was a fear. This sounds like it's right out of the X-Files, an episode of the X-Files. In fact, there was an episode similar to this where the Roombas were spying on people and collecting data about the home and sending it to someone who then cased out the house and decided whether or not they wanted to burglarize it or not. So, yeah. So maybe it's good that you don't run yours.
They wouldn't see anything in my Roomba. From my Roomba. No, yeah. Got nothing.
All my Roomba ever saw was my dog's face. So I don't think. So where was I? Oh, we were talking about the umbrella. We were talking about the umbrella. I saw a guy in Cleveland with one of these testing it out. And I don't think he understood the concept because he was driving in his convertible and he had the thing flying.
Oh my. Yep.
I put that joke in there for any pigeons who are listening to the show. I think pigeons use umbrellas for target practice. I really do. But umbrellas and bald guys, that's what they do. But what's wrong with old-fashioned umbrellas? The old collapsible ones and the big giant golf ones with all the different gaudy colors. There was nothing wrong with those. Do we really need I don't know how many thousands of dollars this thing will obviously cost once it hits the market. Although, maybe he's working on a collapsible drone umbrella already. So, I don't want to hurt his market.
Poor guy.
I'm thinking if this really becomes popular, the next thing, and I'm going to work on the script, there will be a Singing in the Rain with whoever the Gene Kelly of today is dancing underneath one of these autonomous umbrellas. And at that point, I'll know it's all over. We have crossed over the technological boundary. We no longer are old fashioned anymore. We're done. I don't know who would do the dancing. John Travolta is too old to dance.
He's too old for it. Yeah.
Yeah. Michael Jack, no, not Michael Jack.
I
don't know who's a good dancer anymore. Somebody from Dancing with the Stars, I guess. Okay. My favorite world record of the week uh, again, John's not here to vouch for this, but this comes from a British inventor by the name of Michael Wallhead. Michael broke the biggest, the Guinness World Record for the fastest wheelie bin. Now, wheelie bin is English for trash can. So, we call it a trash can here. They call it a wheelie bin there. If you tell someone from England that you have a trash can on wheels, they'll think you own a cyber Tesla.
I love it.
So you don't want to get those confused, mixed up for your English friend. So here's a picture of Michael in his motorized wheelie bin. He can barely fit in it. He's sticking. You can see his shoulders, and thank goodness he's wearing a helmet, which seems so absurd. The lid is behind him. He's got number 32 on. Michael has been on this podcast before. I don't know if you remember this, Karen, but in 2023 we talked about him because he set his first world record for motorized wheelie bin.
Really?
Yeah, he hit 55 miles an hour in his motorized bin. Since then, he's made $900 worth of improvement and claims, according to the Guinness people, that he has now hit 66 miles per hour. The only way that I could make a $900 improvement to my trash can is to throw $900 into my trash can. That's it. What else would you do? I
It
mean,
makes, like, where does he drive it?
I don't know. Okay, so here's what he did, Karen. Since you're the technical one here, he made what did he put? He put a Suzuki GP 125 two-stroke engine in it. So that's like a lawnmower engine, I think. A magnesium go-kart wheels. So he took the wheels off and put go-kart wheel, a rear axle, a 5-gear box. So he must have a steering wheel in there and a gear shift somehow inside the wheelie bin, a chassis, a steering damper, and an extra wheel in the front. So I can't see an extra wheel.
Yeah.
If this catches on, they need to have a race called the Bindi 500 and race these things completely. Or talk to the guy we just talked about, John Zhu, and his autonomous umbrella, and make autonomous motorized wheelie bins.
Wow.
Yeah, you could. First thing I thought was you could have it chase I have raccoons in my neighborhood. You could have it chase the raccoons as they're trying to jump in and steal your garbage. And then I thought that I could mess with the garbage collectors as they're in the neighborhood. They're trying to pick up the can, and I make the can move away from them. That would freak them out. But I don't want to do that because then they won't pick my garbage up for the rest of their lives and my life. So I don't want that at all. But I did see a benefit, and that would be that if I hear the garbage truck coming down the street and I don't have my trash out yet, this would be perfect. 66 miles an hour, I could be right at the curb before they got to the curb. So maybe there's a use for it. Okay, so here's another story that I wish John was here for because he could use this more than me. According to a new study, if you mix the natural sweetener stevia with minoxidil, you can boost your hair growth. Now, minoxidil, yeah, how about that? Minoxidil is that Rogaine stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know which one is the brand name. Is the brand name Rogaine or is it?
I think it's Rogaine is the brand.
Rogaine's the brand name. Okay. So we're talking about the hair growth stuff, not Joe Rogaine.
Yeah.
Yeah. You for those of you who don't know, Joe Rogaine is this podcaster who wishes he had the ratings that What in the World has.
Absolutely, he does.
So it's over-the-counter hair growth stuff. For those of you who aren't familiar with it, that's what it is. So, in the interest of research, not that I need it, I tried some of this with stevia, and all I got was a new place for my dog to lick. Every time I bent over, he's right up there licking my head. I thought, oh no, this is not good. Not good for his tongue either, I'm sure.
But why is he holding hair in his hand that looks like it's coming out of his head.
I guess this was before he used his first Rogaine
Oh,
treatment, Karen. That
okay.
that would be my guess. I don't know. I don't see a tube of Rogaine anywhere. I certainly don't see a can of
Yeah.
stevia or a box or whatever stevia comes in.
Well,
But if you're interested,
I have a box of 400 packets of stevia. So if anybody wants to try it, let me know. You can have all my stevia. And you froze. And we froze.
oh, there you go.
Yeah, one of us froze.
One of us did. Yeah, okay. Well, let's see if we can make it through here. You can get the same effect. You have to use a micro patch and a micro needle. You have to get it from your doctor. You can't just do it yourself. Although, some people have tried. You can, apply your Rogaine and then take a donut or a cupcake made with stevia and rub it on your head. But they tried it on mice, so they haven't done it much of the scientific research on humans yet. But they went all out on mice, and they said it really works well on mice. Uh, so what they got was hairy mice that taste sweet. So
Oh.
look for 9 Lives to be coming out with a flavor by like that soon. Um, Anyways, here's another strange thing that science now thinks is a good idea. They come out with this stuff. Well, you need to do this, you need to do that, and it sounds odd, but we do it anyways. And just when we start to feel more comfortable with whatever it is they're recommending, they tell us that it's bad for you. Stop doing it. So, and I'm afraid this is what's going to happen with this. But wait till you hear this. A new study by Anglia Ruskin University in Cambridge, England. They said that eating bamboo like a panda can help you live longer. So munching on bamboo like a panda does helps you live longer. It reduces your blood sugar, reduces your fat level, increases your intake of vitamins, protein, and fiber. Eating bamboo like a panda. Next thing you know, they'll be telling us that the best thing in your martini is to eat the toothpick that's in your olive.
Oh.
It just doesn't make any sense. Why would I be eating Chinese wood? I don't think the Chinese do this other than pandas, as far as I know. Yeah, yeah. The So of course this story comes from England, where even bamboo tastes better than most English foods. So yeah, I can understand why they might be interested in this. But the study comes with a warning that the bamboo has to be cooked properly, which means that you have to have a pot big enough to put your whole bamboo chair in and boil it until it's soft. Because where else do I get bamboo? That's all I see is bamboo furniture. The However,
unless you go to the zoo, maybe.
well, I thought of one. You go steal it from the panda at the zoo. Yeah. Hey, look, panda. There's a bear behind you, and grab their bamboo and run away with it. I do remember bamboo being in one food product that we ate when we were kids. I don't know if you ate this, Karen. I bet you did. And that was Chungking chicken chow mein.
Yeah,
You remember that stuff?
I do. Yes.
One of the ingredients in chicken chow mein was bamboo shoot. I
Oh,
remember.
bamboo shoots. Yes.
Yeah, bamboo shoots. So you served it. It was the only kind of Chinese food that our mom would serve. The only kind of Chinese food that I knew existed until I went away to college and found out that there were Chinese restaurants in the Jewish neighborhood. By the way,
Right, of course.
someplace to go on Christmas. What is it? Is it Christmas and Easter?
Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. That's where all the
there you go. There you go. So how did you eat the Chungking chicken chow mein? You ate it on a pile of fried noodles. Remember those? Yeah, they came in a separate can, and you opened it up and you poured them on your plate. I was doing some research, and I found out that these were not actually noodles that Chungking fried. They were actually crackers made in the shape of noodles. They
Interesting.
yeah,
Okay.
they lied to us. I think, everybody, we didn't care what they were. We just told whoever, if you had a younger brother or younger sister, you told them that they were fried worms. And
Yep.
depending on how weird they were, they either got grossed out or they asked for more. Um, my younger sister, became a nurse. She loved anything like that. Anything that had worms in it, she thought it was great. Um, so you can't get Chungking chicken chow mein anymore, which I think is a sign that there must have been something wrong with it.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So here's another thing to think about. Um, Pandas don't eat anything but bamboo. That's what they eat. They live on bamboo. I guess in water too. They got to have something to to make it
Flush
soft.
it down. Yeah.
And they only have sex once a year. Is there a connection between eating bamboo and a reduced sex life? Maybe you should eat your bamboo with some Viagra, if you're worried about it, but you still want to get the benefits of bamboo, but not the negative side effects. Um, or then smear your head with Rogaine and stevia, and you're virile. You've got a full head of hair. You're ready to go out on your blind date.
Yeah.
Um, so my favorite story of the week, and this is a popular story on Facebook, so I know everybody enjoyed it. A guy by the name of Whitgar Weigel. He's an organic farmer in the Austrian Alps. He has a Swiss brown cow that picks up sticks in her mouth and uses them to scratch herself. And she's done it enough times. Yeah, this isn't even a stick that she's holding. This picture, it looks like a broom or a brush,
Yeah.
and she uses it to scratch very specific parts depending on what itches, depending on the time of the day. She uses different length sticks. The very smart cow that he has here, and he didn't train her to do it. Um, so I was just thinking, a cow with a stick, which sounds like something that you would eat at the Ohio State Fair. Cow on a stick,
Yeah.
but this is not. That's not what this is. This is a cow that knows how to use a stick.
That
Um,
is that is
so they
weird.
yeah.
Yeah.
So they have these people called cognitive biologists that apparently study the brains of all of animals, and they were amazed that she knows ahead of time what part itches and what kind of stick to get, and where to hold it in her mouth and how to turn her head. It's really a smart cow. Um, she has a special stick that she uses when the farmer tries to milk her and his hands are cold. Um, so
Good girl.
I wonder sometimes if cows know the temperature of the farmer's hand, and if they have a preference. I think they must. They must know. Um, but, I think too much about things like this, which is why I'm no longer allowed in petting zoos. Um, but the study ended. They were studying this cow. It ended when she picked up a sharpened stick and started chasing after one of the biologists who was wearing a leather coat. So
Ooh.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's how shows how smart she was. Um, I mean, I can imagine a farmer walking into a barn, into her barn, wearing a new pair of leather boots, and she looks at him and she sniffs and she says, "Daisy, is that you?" Um, you know,
Oh.
I'm telling you, that's why I'm not allowed in petting zoos anymore. So this is the first documented case of tool use in cattle. First documented case, and the first use of a multi-purpose tool by an animal, which means it's time to blow the dust off of my movie script that I worked on a long time ago and nobody was interested in before. Planet of the Angus. This is it.
Oh.
It's the
Yeah.
time is right for a movie about cows taking over the world. So, she used a tool to scratch her back. That was one of the things she did. She scratched her back with a tool that was not specifically designed for back scratching. So I tried that once. I tried scratching my back with a hoe, and
Oh.
yeah, she wanted another $20. So
Ah.
where's John? Where's my
Ah,
rim
touch the horn.
shot? I would have loved that joke.
Yeah.
Okay, so this story is from our Kids Don't Try This at Home file. And So I'm saying it right up front. Kids, don't try this at home. I have a feeling that not too many kids would try this, but I don't know. So we got our warning in there. So an American free solo climber, that means he climbs mountains and other things without ropes or any kind of tools. His name is Alex Honnold, and you may have seen this on the news. He just it took him 90 minutes, and he scaled a building in Taipei, one of the world's largest skyscrapers, 1,667 feet, 101 stories. He climbed it without the aid of any ropes or tools or special clothing.
He's crazy.
Yes, yes, I agree. I'd call him a human fly, but I think flies are even smarter than that. Um, this tower, 101 stories, 1,667 feet tall. It's so tall, they have a bar on the first floor serving drinks to people who are too nervous to even take the elevator.
Yeah, that would be me.
Oh, me too, Karen. Me too. I go to New York. I look for handrails to hold on to before I look up to see how tall the buildings are.
Yep.
I don't like height. I don't like looking up. I don't like looking down at those videos of drones or helicopters flying over downtown and looking at the tops of the buildings. I can't. I leave the room when those come on. That's just too much for me. And I love to fly. I love going on airplanes, but climbing up, no. So he climbed it by staying on one corner and using their little L-shaped outcroppings from the building, little like handles as footholds. That's what he used. Like if a brick building, you'd stick your hand in between the bricks, your fingers. So and he did it. And speaking of petting zoos, there's a petting zoo nearby, and all the goats were watching him. And when he got to the top, oh yeah, they all bowed down. He went out work.
Oh yeah, yeah. Wow.
Now, this guy's crazy, obviously. He has two small kids. He has two kids at home, and he's doing this. He says, "Don't worry, they don't know what I do for a living." Yeah.
They're going to find out fast.
Well, that's right. They'll find out, and they'll be in therapy for the rest of their lives.
Yep, exactly.
Until he stopped, and maybe even after then. But then get this. He wants them to. He says, I wouldn't mind if one of them followed in my footsteps. I wouldn't, and he means vertically, not horizontally, vertically in his footsteps.
Yeah.
Here's how he put it. I had to quote. This is so unbelievable. I'd much prefer my daughter to do something like that than like get into partying, which he said was more dangerous in more different ways. Partying, more dangerous than climbing a 1,667-story building with no protective gear and no ropes. Can you imagine if your parents told you that? No, you can't go to your girlfriend's birthday party, but you could go sit on the roof all night.
Yeah. Wow.
Really? I don't know. That just, there's something odd. I guess you have to be a different kind of person to do this kind of thing in the first place. Absolutely. And stand on the top of the building as he is there. Just freaks me out. Just freaks me out too much. So those are all of my regular stories for this week. I've got some winter advice from Cleveland, and that is stay warm and don't lick any flagpoles.
Yes.
Since we were talking about the Christmas Story before, there's the famous scene from the Christmas Story of the bully licking a flagpole and getting his tongue stuck. I don't know if it was the bully or if that was Ralphie's friend. I think that was Ralphie's friend.
Yeah. And the bullies are looking on.
I remember my mom used to tell a story about somebody who did that long before the movie came out. When she was in school, somebody did that, and they had to come out with hot water and melt their tongue off of the. She was telling me this, so I wouldn't. Like I would. Do I sound like the kind of person who would do something like that, Karen?
Of course not. Never.
No,
never.
Of course not. What was my mother thinking? All right. So normally at this time, I think have I reached the end of? Yeah, there we go. There's our logo here. Normally, I would be showing this picture here. What in the world of sports with John Denalo every week? When once the regular stories are done, we turn to my co-host, my old buddy from college, John Denalo, and I challenge him to come up with a sport that is sometimes weird yet always funny. And as all of our listeners know, John manages to come up with one every week, and we have a good time talking about it. The John is, as I said, on assignment on a beach in Florida, looking for the swamp ape, I suppose.
Well, I hope he finds, what he's looking for.
Well, Karen, it'll be on his expense report. So all the
That's
things
right. That's right. Yeah.
So check it thoroughly. Make sure that there's every day he spends money
Yeah.
going to different swamps to look for the swamp ape.
I'll make sure.
So once we're done with what in the world of sport, we move on to everybody's favorite weird news game, Bluff the co-host. And at that note, I think I'll take that. There we go. So Bluff the co-host. Oh, this is the Jeopardy lookout. This is the hot game in the United States and probably around the world today. So I have, how do you play both the co-host if you're not a regular listener? It's real easy. I have three stories similar to the ones we've been talking about all day. One big difference, those stories were real, or at least as real as stories can be on the internet. The uh, the stories that we have in Bluff the co-host may be real, they may be a fake, and it may be a bluff. It's up to Karen, John. If John's watching live, he might be watching live down there. I'm not sure. And all of you at home, obviously, it's up to you to decide real or bluff. Wagering is allowed, so place your bets. Karen, you can still put your hand on the buzzer, even though John's
Okay.
not here. I'll play for John. Let's see
Okay.
how you do against me playing for John. Here's story number one. It's no surprise that you can see Nevada's human-made Hoover Dam from space, but rangers, can you hear that?
No.
No. Believe it or not, I'm getting weather warnings.
Oh,
My phone here.
can't hear it.
Yeah, we're going to wrap up the show real quick because
Sure.
there's another blizzard coming to Cleveland. So it's no surprise that you can see the Hoover Dam from space. But rangers at a national park in Alberta calendar claim that their park has the world's largest beaver dam, and it too can be seen from satellite. The dam is over 2,500 feet wide, almost a half a mile, and Canadians say it holds back um, the equivalent of more than 90,000 dump trucks of water, or in Canadian terms, enough to fill 1,600 hockey ice rinks.
Ooh, okay.
Are you part Canadian?
Yes.
Yeah. Experts say it's from living in Michigan. Experts say it took generations of bucktooth beavers to chop down the trees to make this dam. Yet it is so remote in the park that it was unknown to the outside world until a satellite picked it up. No, you can't see the beavers waving their tails at the satellite in the images, but they're damn proud of their giant
Oh,
dam. Okay, so a beaver dam in Canada that is so big it can be seen from outer space. Real or bluff? Karen, we'll start with you.
well, the only beaver dams I've ever seen are here in the park area that I live in, and they're
Right.
not really big, but maybe there's more of a beaver population up in Canada. So just for the fun of it, I'm going to say it's a real story.
Wow. Okay. So Karen says it's real. John, I know, doesn't spend much time in the park. And I think he used to, but not anymore. Um, and John's pretty skeptical. I think he would say that beavers are not that smart, and they certainly not the engineering type. So he would say that's a bluff. So let's check. So Karen says it's real. John says it's a bluff, or John in my mind. And the judges say congratulations go to Karen. That's a real story.
Oh, Took a
And
lot
it
of
is.
beavers to do that.
There you go. It's a damn lot of beavers.
Yes, damn a lot of beavers.
And many generations of damn beavers
Yeah.
make that dam. So, okay, so the score is 1-0. Let's get to story number 2. If you're afraid of dogs, you probably don't own a guard dog. However, if you're even more afraid of your business being broken into, you can now hire a guard horse. A rancher in Wyoming noticed that one of his horses started acting like a bucking bronco when a new ranch hand entered the barn, and he decided to try it as a guard horse. He now lets the horse roam the ranch at night and has tested it with a fake burglar, wearing protective clothing, of course. The horse first chased the fake burglar, then cornered it, and finally attacked it by kicking. The rancher is hoping to breed the animal and raise more guard horses that he can rent or sell to other ranchers or to any other businesses that like their stuff, but they like horses more than guard dogs. So, a rancher in Wyoming who breeds or is attempting to breed guard horses. Real or bluff? Karen, we'll start with you.
I think this is a bluff. I cannot picture a horse being a guard of anything. Because usually, if there's noise or something, they tend to get jittery and run away. So I'm going to say bluff.
Okay, Karen says it's a bluff. John says, you know, if you he doesn't like dogs either, and I think John would like to have a guard horse to guard his mansion. Um,
Okay.
yeah, in his hot tub. So I think John would say that's a real story. Let's check with the judges, and the judges say, "Wow, congratulations, go to Karen again. That is a bluff. No such thing as a guard horse." Um, I don't know what other kind of animals people use as guard geese. I think Canadian geese would be good.
Yeah.
They're pretty mean. I don't know if you can train them to be guard geese. It's too hard to say, anyways. Guard geese. So it's scored 2-0. Karen vaults into the lead, but everybody knows points are doubled in round number 3. So Fake John still has a chance to win, and then he won't have to use his fake his fake flashcards all weekend. Story number 3. Indiana is home to the new national champion college football team. But before that, it was also known as the birthplace of Bubble Wrap Appreciation Day, which is held annually on January 26th. Everybody's favorite pacifying packing material got its day accidentally in 2001 when a couple of radio DJs opened a box containing some new microphones while on the air, and the listeners heard the bubbles popping, causing the phone lines to light up faster than a free concert ticket giveaway. The station forgave the DJs and made that day the Bubble Wrap Appreciation Day, which it celebrates with bubble wrap popping competitions, bubble wrap art projects, and the always popular Wear the Most Creative Bubble Wrap Outfit contest. The winner gets a trophy and they get to pop their outfit on the air. Okay, so we just missed it, January 26th. That was yesterday. Bubble Wrap Appreciation Day, made by some DJs who accidentally unwrapped their microphones on the air, and they were covered with bubble wrap. Real or bluff? Karen, we'll start with you.
There's an appreciation day for everything in this world. We celebrate the strangest things. So this is a real story. You didn't have to make it up.
I would have had to work really hard if but if and we don't know yet. So Karen says it's a real story. John hates bubble wrap. He would prefer butcher paper. Or I know that's for a fact. So he doesn't like bubble wrap at all. He doesn't want it to. No one should appreciate bubble wrap. Butcher paper should have its own day. So John would say that's a bluff. Let's check with the judges, and the judges say, "Wow, you were 3-0, Karen. That was definitely a real story, and we just missed it. Bubble Wrap Appreciation Day yesterday. I found
Wow.
it. I had already had all the stories lined up, so I figured, oh, this would be perfect for Bluff the host.
I love it. I love
There
it.
you go. So poor fake John is going to be doing his fake flashcards for the weekend. I'll let him know how poorly he did this week. Um, but he'll be back next week. Don't worry. And on that note, we have reached the end of another episode of What in the World. I want to thank our producer, co-host, media mogul at New Cleveland Radio, Karen Hale, for all she does for this show, and for all she did for her wonderful husband, Rich. I hope that Rich, wherever you are, that you enjoyed the show as well. We'll miss you, but we'll continue on and always have you in our thoughts when something happens and something somehow works its way into the video. That's got to be Rich doing his
It's
thing.
got to be him.
More time.
Absolutely.
That's right. So again, thank you, Karen. Go to newclevelandradio.net to check out all the great podcasts, including What in the World, how to download us. Check out Cassandra Kubinski's music. You can go to my website, paulseaburn.com, find out all the information on what would you say to a naked space alien. You can also visit me or Karen or both of us on Facebook if you've got story ideas. Our good buddy Marion sent me a story this week that we'll be talking about next week. So hang on, Marion. I got it too late for this show, but and John will be back next week as well, as far as I know. So hopefully he'll be telling us about the swamp ape that he has tied up in it.
Better, because otherwise no expenses paid.
He's got it tied to the top of his car, and he's going to drive back. Or in a giant dog crate. That'll be it right there. So on that note, I hope everyone had as much fun listening to the show as we did, putting it together. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. It's a work of love that we do this show every week. If you want to learn more about Rich Hale, visit Karen's Facebook page. She's got some really beautiful tributes to her husband and some reminiscences about some of the things that they did. For those of you who have gone through this, or want to be prepared, it's a good way to. Karen really exhibits her coaching skills with the things she talks about. So thank you, Karen, for doing that. And on that note, we're going to head on out.
Head on out before the snow hits.
Get ready before the snow hits. Everybody